welcome back to another episode of Friendco. Today, it's the weekend and it is E36 day. We're going to be working on my silver one over here. Just got a few odds and ends to tie up on it. And Matt's cow car here. As you can see, last time we got these fenders all globbed up with some body filler and got some primer on there. We're going to get it looking brand new again with a coat of paint today.
So that means it's time to get to work, or for us, moving and grooving, which is a more complex equation, which is of course motion, flow, and vibe squared. Let's get to it.
We're starting with the drift car here today. Matt just took the masking off so that we can sand down this primer. We're going to throw a couple of coats of paint on there.
Doing all this for you, Adam. I'm coming for you. I can't come for you in a rust bucket. I'm gonna come for you correct in a real true drift car that has paint. Some paint. I believe I can sand all of my body filler that I put on my fenders to make them look way better. I believe I can paint. Bob Ross is gonna be impressed with this paint job. That's all I gotta say. Got all the hard lines smoothed out of this one. Oh yeah, looks better already.
Looks brand new.
Dirt Squirrel, the Burt Reynolds, Lip Caterpillar, I don't know what it's called. I think it's a rule for race car drivers to have a mustache, so I had to grow one. I don't make the rules, I just have to follow them. Got them fresh meats from Accelera.
Fresh meats.
Tire streets accept my driver's program entry.
We got it all taped off. Matt's got his can, getting it all mixed up. It's not the exact color, but it's close enough for a drift car. We're gonna go ahead and spray it, show you how it looks.
Oh, we still recording. Jacob wanted to record so he could watch the paint dry.
A lot of people who paint their cars in their garage will wet the floor down so that you don't have a bunch of dust. We just have leaky floors and walls. Does the job for us. It's clear coat time.
We got the base on there, we got the clear going on.
All right, let's just let it dry and then peel off the covers. All right, while we're waiting on that final coat to dry, I'm gonna hop in the silver E36 here and start replacing this radio. So we've got this old Pioneer in here. I guess you could say it is kind of period correct, but it's ugly. It doesn't have Bluetooth. So I've got this nice Continental radio here. Matt, if you wouldn't mind to show them. Looks like it belongs in the car. It's got orange backlighting, Bluetooth, everything I need to look like it's stock. Still a Bluetooth.
And be a gangster.
I am gonna have to rewire this thing. They didn't do me any favors by cutting it right there, so I'm not gonna have a whole lot of wire left to work with, but let's get started. Didn't really have a whole lot to show you throughout the wiring process, but everything is in here now and heat shrinked. There are a couple wires in here that are not used, but we're just gonna tuck those back in. Here in a second, I'll show you what the final product looks like. So this is it, just sliding it in. And it's complete. Looks like it belongs in this car. Like we were saying earlier, it's got the orange backlighting on it. It's got Bluetooth. We're good to go. That's done. We're gonna come over here and see how this turned out. What do you think of it?
Well, it's okay.
Oh, yeah, that's a different color.
The rear doesn't look as bad as the front. I think it's because of the spots and maybe just the angle I was looking at it, but maybe some strategic spot replacement might help kind of break that up a little bit.
Yeah, we could probably put one like over the corner of this one over here.
Yeah.
Like maybe just put one right here, break it up.
I think that'll help break it up pretty good.
But as far as like the actual fenders themselves, it looks way better.
Oh yeah. Got a little overspray got to take care of. Now that the tape's removed, easy to see the areas where we hit.
Looks a lot better though.
Got some runs.
Barely see it on camera.
While driving, probably won't be able to see it.
No.
So previously in all the photos I saw from last drift event, I could see my fenders in every photo.
Now no one will tell.
Yep.
They're gonna be like, why is this pristine BMW out here drifting? It's gonna tear it up.
Yep.
Right after buying this car, I did scan it and it told me that it needs a cam position sensor. That bad boy's right here. So we're gonna go ahead and dig in there and get that thing replaced.
Right. Now that we've removed Jake's big airbox mod, I'm gonna want to remove that as well.
We were really struggling to take that off with the crescent wrench, but luckily I had this 32 millimeter that I used a couple weeks ago to take the fan, the clutch fan off of my truck. It worked perfect, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this job finished up. There we go. Set that to the side. All right. Do we need to just get you a wheelchair?
It's pretty much equivalent of a wheelchair. I was thinking that. I'm like, this is probably why if you go to the doctor's office, they say, you know, stay off your feet and they put you in a wheelchair.
Uh-huh.
I understand it now. It's a lot better. I'm not constantly causing pain to myself. It's almost like doctors knew something.
They were onto something with the wheelchair.
Yeah. Turns out that's a good invention. It's got wheels on it. It's a chair. I guess you can actually get to that bolt now.
Yeah, that one?
Yep.
I think you might be right. So these are a little bit difficult to get to. I'm sure if you've done this before, you already knew that. But for those of you who haven't, we found that if you take out the air box, this little intake duct here, the oil filter cap and the filter itself, and then the Vano solenoid right here, you'll finally have access to that little Allen right there, and then you can finally replace the camshaft position sensor. While we're in here, I'm going to replace this vacuum line that I ripped too.
Well, first you got to take out the air box so you can get to the alternator breather, and then you can get to the oil filter cap, and then you can get to the solenoid cover.
That's finger tight.
To finally allow you to access to one bolt.
Yeah, all that for one bolt.
Was that not even tight?
No, it wasn't.
Maybe that was your problem.
Maybe it was.
Can you reach the plug? Master Mechanic Jake sticks his hand into the deep dark abyss and feels for what he deems to be a connector. He double fists it into the abyss, and it rewards him with a satisfying click. As he examines the new connector, he realized he unplugged the wrong sensor.
That would be horrible. Wow, okay.
At least it's not on the back of the engine.
Yes.
Plug that hose in right now.
Step one, take off the old one.
Step one was break it.
Let's see, that's tight enough. And this whoozy what's it goes back in.
Whoa!
Wow.
A lot of fan.
She works though. Still runs. So that cam sensor is done on my car, started up and ran great. So we are done with this car here today. We're gonna move on back to Matt's cow car and do a couple more things on him. Then we're out of here.
Oh.
All right, what you got going on here, big dog?
Well, you see, I got the output harness for the Holly. Very beautifully constructed, minus these two wires. That I'm going to put in this monstrosity, which includes my wiring harness for the old cluster there. So, this will basically run all the inputs for the cluster. Now I'm gonna have to build a panel here to hide all these wires. Now, there is no instructions on how to do this when it comes to a Holley. But people who have swapped an LS1 into their E36 have reported, and I don't know which instances, I'm assuming stock ECU, that they ran a resistor in here and a 12 volt to the resistor to make a 12 volt jumper for a 12 volt square wave, I think. So I may or may not have to do that on this. So we're just gonna test it.
I'm gonna hook it up directly first.
Directly first. If TAC has no life, then we'll run a resistor and a 12 volt pull up and try it again. We have TAC. It's about twice as high as it should be. So if we look at the Holley here, we're running 900, almost 1,000 RPM, and I'm just under 2,000. So I gotta figure out how to, I mean, I don't know if I exactly cut it in half, but it looks like I need to cut it in half. But we have TAC. I'm gonna give it a little gas. It revs. So now I gotta scale it.
So how'd you get it to work?
Well, at first I didn't succeed, so I tried and tried again, and I applied our patented moving groove technology towards wiring up my TAC. So, long story short, used a fresh output, built a chart, did 50% duty cycle, did a 12 volt pull-up resistor, and it's working like a champ.
Thank you so much for watching our short weekend of working on cars here. Got quite a bit done on the cow car and a couple things done on my E36 over there. So if you made it to the end of this video, we really appreciate you. Please make sure that you hit like and subscribe. It helps us out a ton. Thanks again.